Hey guys, how we doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin evening update. So over to those charts. Yep. So we didn't get that break over the 9,500. We hung around basically at that resistance for too long, which is what I was afraid could happen if we didn't break through. We didn't get through on this push. It did seem like we were gonna struggle, and yes, so we came down. Obviously, the initial target was obviously the back test of the trend line, which we obviously didn't get supported at. But the main support is is obviously this horizontal that we've got in here, and as you can see, that has currently supported the price. I will emphasize the fact because I mean, I was expecting or hoping if we were going to get this low, that would get bought back up pretty quick. This sell-off did coincide with a sell-off in the stock market as well. So if you want to kind of have a look, especially the Nasdaq, on a shorter time frame. What time frame is this? But anyway, we got the sell-off. Here it is. Sorry. So we got the sell-off that coincided with Bitcoin, and as you can see, Nasdaq got all the way back up. S&P got about half the way back up. Bitcoin is still sat all the way at the bottom. So I have been talking about this relative weakness of Bitcoin. Relative to the stock market, that it's not really pumping the same amount. It's not really keeping pace with the moves that we're getting in the stock market. Not that it has to keep an exact pace, but it will often trade sideways when the stock markets will go up, and then it will kind of come down, obviously harder when they come down. So that is obviously a bearish sign. We are back well within. We didn't even blink as we came back through this trend line. So that is something that we've got to really take notice of. But though, whilst ever this was one of the scenarios that what I was saying was quite bullish. If we get up here and we get rejected, we come back down to 9,200. As long as we hold the 9,200, this trend line's coming in fast, so we can obviously have another go at breaking it. Obviously I don't think that's going to catapult us straight through 9,500, 400, 500 resistance, because that's quite a bit of a distance now, a bit more of a distance than it was here. But though that does not have to be what happens. We could either have a little bounce up, a weak bounce, and get basically slammed down by the top of the channel, or we could just hang around where we are, and then get squeezed down just by the channel. It will extend it a little bit, just by the channel, just meeting price action, and then just forcing us through this support. So yeah, it's a bit dicey again for Bitcoin. I was saying in this morning's video, if we get the move down to 9,200, if we get the move down to back test the trend line, then that's great. If we get a wick down to here, then get back up, then that's also fine. But it's not a wick at the moment. We're on a 1 hour time frame. I don't really know why we're on a 1 hour time frame, but yeah, it's not really a wick, is it, at the moment? I mean, could it even be a wick on the daily? If we get back above, yeah, it can be a wick on the daily, obviously, but the daily is still obviously gotta make a bit of a move if it is going to be, and get back above it. And the daily does close in 2 hours as well. So I think closing this daily below this trend line will be pretty telling, I think, for what we've got in store for us. Obviously everything was looking really good when we broke out the top. We were consolidating here, looking like we could just make another move up, get up to here, then consolidate in this zone. Obviously we've been flat out rejected, back down to 9,200. No real bounce as of yet, even though stock markets have had a nice bounce. So yeah, that is all pretty bearish, guys. There's no real other way to look at this. It's pretty bearish as it stands. That kind of we've got clear defined levels anyway where we are right now. This 9,200 area, just below. I mean, if we take out, we've got a nice wick here. I don't like necessarily using the first drive down wick as a place to manage risk, because you always get the liquidity, not always, but like just like here, you get the move down and then you get the move down lower before we then go back up, because obviously they grab that liquidity and then squeeze up. You see it all the time in Bitcoin. I mean, now that I've said it, I'm sure we're not going to be able to see it, but yeah, move down here, move down lower, then a squeeze back up. You see it, you do see it all the time. You guys can look for previous examples if you like. You do see it a lot. Obviously when we get our big massive moves in Bitcoin, those obviously usually are we don't get lower than that wick, but like with these sort of more normal moves, this is something that happens. It's just a liquidity hunt. So yeah, it's difficult necessarily to manage risk at the bottom of this box now and the bottom of this wick, because obviously, well, what I just said, we could literally just trade lower just to hit your stop, hit the people's stop that do manage the risk off that pretty obvious zone. But yeah, so but though, if we do break below there, I mean, it's gonna look dicey. It is gonna look like we come down to 9,000, and obviously, I did say in this morning's video, if this happened, we came down to 9,000. I don't think we're gonna be able to get support at 9,000 again. I don't think it's reasonable to expect it to bounce the price again from basically from where we are. Sorry, I'm just a bit distracted whilst I'm trying to sort that out. I don't think it's reasonable to expect that level to bounce the price again. I think it's more reasonable to expect it to fail, even if it can produce a bounce back up to around 9,200. I think that will just get sold into, and we will make our way down to what is the most critical area to the downside, I believe, for Bitcoin, which is this 8,600 zone. So I mean, as it stands, if I had to pick what I think would be most likely, but I mean, this is not how I trade. I don't really trade on what is most likely. Obviously I will look for shorts if we basically get below here and we sort of stay below here, or if we break back up of the trend line. I mean, it's hard to really see where to buy in here, but yeah, if we break back up with the trend line, obviously I am in a long position from this 9,200 and just below 9,200, and I did actually take some of that position off just to because it was a bit of a scalp out of the trade. So now I've just got a more manageable position that I can just leave overnight with the stop. But yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, it's just, yeah, I mean, it's just not looking bullish. I mean, yeah, you can manage your risk. Obviously below here we're going to look for shorts. If we get back above here, above the trend line, if we get back up with the trend line, in all fairness, I don't think I'm going to just buy straight the, well, what is it? It's about 9,300. I'm not going to buy there. I would wait then to see if we then have another move down and get supported. It's difficult to find a good long entry that we can manage risk on, other than the one that we've got already around this 9,200. That obviously is an entry that is on side, and we can manage the risk on. But to find another entry in this zone is a bit difficult, and I think what you're really waiting for is a test back up to 9,400, and then some sort of a back test, or just a break above these highs. So literally, if you come up to 9,400 then break above these highs, then I believe that would be a good buy entry. But yeah, there's plenty of short entries here. There's plenty. Even just as much as you can speculate long here with your stop there, I mean, you can pretty much speculate short here with your stop. Well, just have a tight stop, to be honest. I just wouldn't really be looking for, if we are going to come down, then I think we'll break this and have a big move down. If we move up, then I think you just hit your stop and you can have it quite tight anyway. So yeah, let's have a look at what those stochastics are telling us. So the 4 hour is coming down pretty hard. I mean, I don't really want to draw a trend line here, but yeah, you can see there's a little bit. But yeah, but either way, if we get down here, yeah, this is going to drag us through 9,200, no problem, like no problem. We're in a similar situation now, where we had the 4 hour Stokes up here. resetting whilst we were around the 9,200 zone, and we needed to hold it whilst they came down. We obviously had that bit of a pump up, which then got this move up, and then yeah, now we are basically moving back down again. So they are getting to a place where they can obviously, if we can hold the levels in price we're at, if we can hold this support whilst 4 hour stokes come down and then turn back up, it will be looking good. But we'll have a look at some of the higher time frame stokes, but I do think that it's just going to be a drag on price, really. It is going to be a drag. 8 hour turning back down from a well, a pretty obvious horizontal level. We looked at this morning, didn't we, and thought it's got room to run, but obviously we were cognizant of that trend line, which obviously has proved to be important. And the 12 hour has now turned down, so this is what we didn't want to see, because 12 hours is the main one. And then if we look at this daily here as well, daily's still strong and got a lot of room to run. So yeah, so that's obviously got that on our side, but then again we had the weekly not on our side. So if we basically want to balance out where we think the next move will be, based on the 12 hour, the 4 hour, and even the 8 hour, we're not really going to look at anything lower than that. It's basically down. So that's that's basically what you what we need to be aware of. We are looking like we've just faked out above the trend line. We had it every shot. We got to the trend line. Look, we came back. We back tested the support. We got up to the next level of support. At worst, well, I say at worst. At best, we could have just carried on all the way through, consolidated and broke through, bull flagged it out and broke through. We could have back tested the trend line and then bounced off that and started to move back up. Or we could have wicked down to this, got back up to the trend line, then started to make our way back up. And they are the only really bullish options, and we clearly have not taken any of those. And we have even closed lower than this local low we put in there. So what does this mean? This means that we have to have a bearish bias now, and it is a pretty juicy bearish trade that we've got on the table here. Let's be honest. If we shorted right where we are here now, I mean, realistically, you could have your stop just above here, and I know that might seem like a lot, basically $250, but we are looking at a downside at least of 8,600. So that is a $650 move, isn't it? If we're going to call that a $250 move to the upside, that's a $650 move down, and we are also then exposed to the potential downside of losing this level, and just the absolute waterfall of selling that will come in if we break below 8,600. I mean, I can't see us not getting down to 8,000, even if we consolidate there, or even if we bounce off that, come all the way back up to the test the underside of this support, which is what I believe will happen if we have a break below this 8,600. I think we will have a bounce back up to here, suck us some more balls in, maybe even get up to 9,000 again, maybe. But I think that will be yet another selling opportunity, and we'll come back down. But nonetheless, I think on an initial pass, we can break through. If we can get through this level, even just on a wick basis, I think that will get follow through literally down to around 8,000. At which point, we can potentially have a short covering rally there. But yeah, so. Yeah, things not looking as bright as they were when things were looking brighter, basically. So no other way really to put that. We're back in the channel. It is often the case. It's called a fake out. We like back tests, and we like fake outs, because when you get the fake out and then it's a proven fake out, you pretty much know you're going to make a run in the other direction. So if this is obviously a descending channel, if this was a horizontal box, and you see a fake out, in fact we can actually see it, we've actually got it, you see the fake out to the top. If that is a fake out, you often see then a move literally to the bottom of that box, which is exactly what we got here. We got the fake out. This obviously doesn't really count because the box really wasn't in place here at this point, But yeah, we have the move to the top and then to the bottom. We have the move to the top. If we fail to get out, we come to the bottom. We have an actual fake out here above the actual top, and then once we come back in, we are pretty swiftly sold back down. And we have another fake out here where we get sold back down. And so this is what happens with fake out. This is talking about the larger box. I mean, you can look at it on the basis of this descending channel as well, the fake out, and then we come to the bottom of the descending channel. The fake out at the top of the channel, so we come to the bottom of the channel. I mean, you can almost see a fake out to the bottom of the channel, so then we make our way towards the top of the channel. So we've now had a proper fake out to the top of the channel. So you guys can see where I'm going with this, can't you? So now the target realistically is the bottom of the channel, around 8,600, and it is also the bottom of our larger time frame box area that we've got drawn in as well. So so yeah, that has to be a target. It has to be a target, guys. It has to be, unless we are going to have a big rally. But a lot of the rallies that I've been looking at, I am just using predicate. I'm using basically the stock markets as a tailwind to actually help us get up in Bitcoin. But the Nasdaq literally recovered its entire loss from this sell-off. Recovered the entire loss. I know the Nasdaq's stronger than maybe the S&P is, but the S&P still covered half of it, so that still would take us around 9,300. And we are struggling. So at the moment, as it stands, with price where it is and stocks where they are, I mean, this obviously the differential. If stock markets then make another big push and keep going to the upside, that will drag us up, no doubt. It will drag us, even though it will drag us kicking and screaming at a slower pace, dragging our heels, it will drag us up. If stock markets can't hold this high that they're in now and then start to actually come down, that is it. That is 100% it. Like, nothing's certain in trading. But yeah, that's about 90% certain. We will get dragged below here. We will smash through 9,000, and we will be testing 8,600. And I use the term will in the non-certain sense. But yeah, just in the likely. We likely will. That's it. We will in brackets likely. So we've got to really watch what we're doing here. But there are some big trades on the table now. There are some big trades. There is a big short trade basically on the table at the moment. It may pay off, it may not pay off. But it's there, and it's the sort of trades that when these opportunities arise and you take them, and you basically take them, overall you're going to make money, because when they do work out, they work out big, and when they don't work out, you lose small. But this is one lined up to come back to the bottom of this channel. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Obviously all of this gets invalidated if we get back above these highs, really. That is really the level. Get back up to 9,500, and it is just a perfect back test of that lower level that we were looking at. A bit of an aggressive move down, but it was helped down by stock markets anyway. It was helped down by a big sell-off in the stock market. So you got to take that into account. When we didn't just back test the trend line, we were getting an aggressive sell-off, which was dragging us down. So it wasn't just pure Bitcoin price action. So anyway, that's it, guys. So remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I will also just show you DMT before we go. DMT obviously took the short trade. This is where the DMT line was, so that's where your short trade was. If you take an aggressive short entry, if you wait for the candle to close, this is where the candle closed, so you can short here. But either way, that's a nice short trade from basically 9,300. That got down nearly $150 down. It's still on the side now. You're in the short trade now. You could put a stop loss at your entry, and you could be taking this trade now to the downside. Dominator, got it even better. Dominator got you in an amazing sell here, an amazing sell. You could have had a 100x trade here with like a 0.2% stop loss. So you weren't risking much, but it had a massive position on, and you never would have hit your stop, and you would have just come straight down. You would have come straight down 2.5% nearly. So yeah, it would have been an amazing trade. But yeah, Dominator called it really well there, really well. Dominator called it really well. So, and then DMT jumped in on the action a bit late, but DMT will do that. DMT will jump in on the action late. It's just how it is. How it is, guys. So anyway, so that's it, guys. So not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And yeah, I will speak to you guys in the morning.